Hello, my name is Jacob Tingen, and I'm the managing partner at Tingen Williams. We're an immigration law firm based out of Richmond, Virginia. And today I'm going to talk about the Form I-944, in particular, some of the tax documentation requirements that you'll need when you file for permanent residency here in the U.S. Okay, so I mentioned that we would be talking about Form I-944. If you're watching this video, you probably already know the Form I-944 is a new form. It's part of the green card application process. And its purpose, it's titled the Declaration of Self-Sufficiency, and its purpose is to make sure that the immigrant applicant, the person applying for the green card, is not likely to become a public charge once they're here in the U.S. and have that green card. If you're applying for adjustment of status, you have to already be present in the U.S. And so some of the tax documentation requirements, it is definitely a heightened standard over what you had to prove prior to the I-944. So in the past, the immigrant themselves didn't necessarily have to provide any tax documentation at all. That burden was entirely on the petitioning spouse or child. And so that just, you didn't need as an immigrant applicant to provide any tax documentation at all. That's different under the I-944. So this form asks you to file any previous taxes that you, the immigrant applicant, have filed within the U.S. If you're applying for adjustment of status, that means you've lived in the U.S. And if you've lived in the U.S. and if you've worked in the U.S., then you should have filed taxes. In addition, it also asks that you submit any tax transcripts for any income taxes that you or your household members filed with any foreign government. So chances are, if you lived outside of the U.S., which if you're an immigrant you did, that you may have filed taxes, income taxes, with your foreign home government. And so you have to provide evidence of both of those pieces of information with your I-944 application. So in the U.S., we typically ask for tax transcripts. That's going to be the easiest documentation you can put together. When people provide us with their actual tax return filing, if they don't submit it also with, say, like the W-2s and those kinds of things, USCIS tends to send an RFE these days asking for additional documentation. So if you have a tax transcript from irs.gov, and it's easily downloadable and you can access it there, if you have that tax transcript, that's evidence that the taxes have been filed already. And so they tend not to send those RFEs for additional tax evidence. Doesn't mean they won't, but they tend not to. And when it comes to your foreign taxes, it's also necessary to get that documentation together. So as the I-944 is a new form and we're seeing USCIS decide what they do and don't need, it's very important that you supply complete documentation, especially when it comes to that tax documentation. As a firm, we're rolling out services to make it easier for clients to apply for permanent residency, given this new layer of complexity. And there will be more information down below this video in the video description about how we're launching a webinar and other services and information to help you apply for permanent residency in the United States. We wish you the best of luck in these difficult times applying for a green card.